Welcome to Prime Space, a Prime Coaching Academy podcast with your host, Elias Skultori.
Hello, coaches. We are here with Ali Cengiz as a guest to Prime Space today. I'm super excited. Ali is calling all the way from Germany. Ali, I forget, what city are you in?
I'm based in Krefeld, Elias.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us at Prime Space today. Ali is a leadership coach, and he has worked many years as an internal coach at Bayer. But Ali is also a graduate from our Level 1 program, and he just got his ACC. Fabulous. Congratulations, Ali.
Thank you.
And because Ali just finished his program and he got his ACC, he now opened his own coaching practice. And that's very exciting that you're going full-time as an independent coach there, Ali. So I appreciate that. So Ali, what is the name of your practice now?
So I'm calling it boutique, like a coaching boutique where people come in, can discover in something or take something great out for them. But actually, Elias, it's not about the name.
What do you mean it's not about the name, Ali?
So it's about you, and it's about the person on the other side. It's creating space to let them grow and then, discover their full potential.
Okay, so that means that your practice doesn't have a name?
It has a name, and the name is It's Not About the Name. And let me tell you a story about how we come to that name. I mean, we were sitting, and when I'm talking about I have a co-founder, which is Juliana. And we were sitting and discussing what should be the name of the company. And then, of course, we were checking on social media channels if the name's already given. And we had a couple of, creating space, another me, and all those kind of, interesting, curious names. Till we have talked about the name of maybe 3 hours. And then we have decided, you know what? We are now discussing 3 hours about that name. And it's not that important because it's really not about the name. It's about the person. It's about the other side. It's about the people. And then we said, okay, you know what? Why we are not then just taking, it's not about the name. And that stayed until now, it's not about the name. And we are happy with that.
That is such a fabulous story and a fabulous process. I appreciate that. I am very impressed with you, Ali, and that's why I invited you to come to the podcast. You have a long experience working for big corporations in a very prominent position. And for you to make this decision to go, and I'm going to start my own practice, this is courageous. And a lot of people have trepidations to do that. And you did it. So, Ali, we have a couple of questions here. The first question is, what aspects of your training and of your coaching experience would be particularly inspirational and valuable to the coaches that are listening to Prime Space right now?
I've mentioned Elias working in corporate the last 10 years, being like 4 to 5 years now an in-house coach. That's something I want to now bring out a bit to also other coaches, this inside the system perspective, being an in-house coach for the last, let's say, 5 years. That's something, coaching, especially I would say to 90% leadership teams in different aspects. Like I have spent the last several years as part, I'm calling it as in the system or of the system, being a part of the system, trying to be constructive and stay constructive. That's something, I can share and I understand probably the tension between the new structures also we see as valuable for people and groups, and the old habits or behaviors people grew up in the system, as well as dynamics in the room you can observe while having, for instance, a team coaching. And I know how to bring people along so no one gets left behind during a transition phase. I think that's something I really want to share outside about how to do that, how to really pick up the people where they are.
Well, here again, you're showing the emphasis and your focus on the people, on the person, the individual, and supporting them. It seems that this is a core value of you as a coach.
Yes.
What brings you, what makes you have so much a focus on the individual?
Actually, I mean, if you look to our vision, like we want to change the world from the inside out, that's a bit, when you look to our webpage, that's something that's very, very prominent. And what we have observed is that in the past, where we tried to bring things to the organization was first walking the talk, means first applying everything on yourself and run through that journey by yourself before you go with that outside. Means like if we apply behavioral diagnostics, we first apply them on ourselves. So doing my own work, increasing my own self-awareness keeps me honest and helps also to deeply emphasize with my colleagues internally or the clients I'm working with. And the last, I would say, 4 years, I had a journey by myself saying, okay, what are your values? What are really the strengths? What is the environment you need to thrive? What is the potential you have? And what is the self-awareness you need to detect yourself in the system you're by yourself in? Means like, are you able to identify when you may act aggressive or passive? Can you caught yourself in the system you're in? And if yes, what you do then in this moment?
So an emphasis on the people, and this is something that we even addressed here, Prime Space, before, the revolutionary aspect of the coaching mindset. That yes, we, especially when we're working internally or we are working with leadership coaching or executive coaching and you're working with organizations, yes, there is the bottom line. There are all the systems that need to be taken care of. There are situations that need to be resolved, but we cannot forget that the people, the person behind that particular situation, because if we don't address and if we don't put the focus on the person, we are going to just postpone the problem to a different date. So I so appreciate that emphasis on the person there.
And let me also maybe add to that what you or build on what you have said. If you look to our webpage, we're seeing we are carrying about the human side of transformation. Because what we have seen in the last couple of years is that, yes, we have great PowerPoint slides and we have great operating models, but in the end, the people will go and make this happen and most likely forget that human side to care about the human. And that's something, we said, when we go one day independent, like we do now, this is something really want to focus on, that the human is in the center.
That's something that to me is very amazing, actually, that we have forgotten that. Internally, when we are working for organizations, there is so much emphasis. We have been distracted by the things which are important, but we forgot to look at each other. We forgot that what makes everything work is the people. So if we don't take care of the people, everything else, nothing is going to work. All right. So what did you learn during your level 1 training with Prime Coaching Academy that you found especially inspiring?
So 3 things coming into my mind immediately. I want to start with the fun we had in the course with you and Amy and all the other participants, right? I think, creating that kind of environment where you can just really be you, that's something that was really unique. And of course, this is growing over time and you have to build relationship, as we all know, but that's something I really feel when I'm being even virtually with you and Amy in the room. So maybe that's top 1. Now, top 2, and this is something that was my biggest learning, right? It's never about the problem, it's about the person. Comes a bit together with what we have talked, but after now nearly 4 years coaching in corporate, level 1 really crystallized the core truth for me. It's never about the problem. It's always about the person. So we have to go deeper. And most likely, and this is how our brain was trained, right? With all how we grew up and all the assessment centers and also all, let's say, trainings that we trying to solve immediately the problem. So we see something, there's a problem we're trying to solve. And it's never about the problem. It's always about the person. And of course, like listening deeply. That's something, and I mean, that's like a topic I believe should be even start teaching in kindergarten and then going, to university and to work. And at least in my education, there was never a course what is teaching you how to really listen. And it's not only for coaches, right? It's for the life. It's not in kindergarten, it's not in university, not at work. They are really teaching you how to really listen. And I think it's such an important skill. And level one really significantly deepened this listening skill. I'm really happy about where colleagues now consistently noticing, or clients noticing, my patience and that presence, what creates a level of trust and where people then open up.
You bring up a great point here, this idea of listening skills. Why aren't we teaching this in elementary school? And to me, is so beautiful to hear this, because the skills of coaching are so human. How can we better listen to each other, better communicate with each other, more present to each other? If we were able to acquire these skills as human beings, not necessarily as professional coaches, how much of our relationships would enrich, and the way we relate with each other would be much better. What about your life experience and events support you in being a better coach?
I remember too. I mean, there of course like a coaching as in parenting philosophy. I have two kids, as you may know, Elias, my son Bertu, who's 14, and my daughter Leah, she's 10. And I missed that a bit, where I was raising Bertu, and coaching or asking more and telling less is coming later a bit in my life. But now I think that's something, raising those two children to tell less and ask them more is something, what shaped a bit. Like, let them take their ownership of their choices. That's a bit where I'm a bit proud of, because most likely kids are like, should I take this or this? And I say, okay, what is hindering of taking A? What will happen if you take B? So really let them do the decision in the end. And I believe also being a good listener to my wife. Sometimes, and now of course she knows, like I'm doing those coaching trainings and those practices. And sometimes she comes from work and we are sitting there, and she's coming in my working room and saying, Ali, I have to tell you something out of the work. And then she's telling da 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 da. And then she's looking to me and saying, thank you. And then she's going out of the room. That's something, sometimes just listening to someone even helps. Let others vent and feel them better. So that's like very prominent in my head, what happened last week.
That is fabulous. One of the things that I noticed about you when you were a student and in all of our interactions, Ali, is your love for your family, and how much you invest in this role of being the parent and being the spouse. Thank you so much for incorporating coaching in all that you do. Coaching is not what we do, but coaching is who we are, right? And you are demonstrating
Cool.
this very much so. Ali, for the coaches that are listening here, what else do you want to share with them that will inspire them in the next step that they are going to take in their coaching journey?
For me, very important is that if you go into a coaching journey, that you first do this journey on yourself before going out to someone else. You're really trying to figure out by yourself what is your belief system, what are your values, what are your strengths, what are the things you are struggling with, how do you come out of this, that you really live through and feel also about what is going on in the environment you're in. And then the second thing, maybe for other coaches, when we talk about 10 years in corporate, and then why I should even quit my 150K job, it's like being courageous enough to do what you love
Mhm.
and doing the right things. And sometimes we have lost that, being courageous in our life to really do what gives you energy and where you can bring your best self on the table. If other new existing coaches are following this, I think we can create a better world. Even when it starts with yourself and you do this for yourself, you have a better world for yourself. And then we can care about the others. And then hopefully you will have a shiny, great world.
Wow. Courage. Thank you for that message. Courage. I really appreciate that. Ali, thank you so much for walking this journey with us. It has been truly a privilege to witness your development as a coach, to be inspired by your light and what you bring to the world. And thank you for what you bring to your clients and all of that you have ahead. We cannot wait to see what you're going to create. Thank you so much for being here with Prime Space.
Thank you so much, Elias. I feel really honored and appreciate every conversation we have. And I hope, there's something others can take out of this podcast. And I really look forward for next year where then we going already into the next level too, where then we can deepen our skills.
So thank you, everybody, for listening. And thank you for joining us here at Prime Space. Please don't forget to subscribe and to share this episode with others. Remember that right now we have our level 1 and level 2 open registration for our cohorts in the spring of 2026, which is coming up very soon. And we are in a period of early bird registration. So you have a few more weeks for you to register and start your coaching journey and your coach training. Thank you so much, everyone, and I will talk to you next time.